It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
And welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Breakfast into, yes, another weekend right around Australia. Of course, every morning just after 6 a.m. you will catch us 7 days a week as heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon. Yes, Saturday, July the 27th, almost into August now. Another weekend of real estate, and you might be either at that end of looking for property or perhaps you are transacting. And if you are doing that across this weekend, enjoy the process. Now, we're going to go somewhere where it's a little bit warmer than most places, subtropical. It's always nice to, on a Saturday, head to Hervey Bay, catch up with Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty on the Fraser Coast there. And good morning to you, Scott. Although I did say subtropical, I understand that you've actually had some cold mornings.
Craig, good morning, mate. And yeah, look, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on, but we've had a week of some of the coolest temperatures I can recall in the 18 years I've lived here in Hervey Bay. We've had 4 degrees for the last 5 mornings in a row.
4 degrees is like minus 20 for most people if you're from Hervey Bay.
I had to get the Ugg boots out, seriously, and slippers and stuff. It's freezing cold. And even our daytime temperatures, we've been topping out at 17 and 18 degrees. That is too cold for Hervey Bay. It is too cold. So we need it to stop now. And I would suggest that should be winter done with for the year.
I'm just thinking of those people flying from Melbourne, and if you didn't know, we were talking about this last time with Scott. There are direct flights now straight from Melbourne into Hervey Bay, people escaping the winter from Melbourne, and boy, they would have been in for a bit of a culture shock.
Well, now you've raised that could be the whole cause of this. They brought it up with them.
Oh, of course. Of course. Melburnians, yes.
Melburnians, those Mexicans have brought the weather with them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, well, let's segue into some of your property. Now, we've talked a lot about the land and house package, the new land and house package. We'll do that in just a moment, reiterate that. But let's talk about the units, the 2-bedroom units, because you can buy just over $300,000 for a 2-bedroom unit. Tell you what, if you want to spend a little bit more money than that and you want to be on the beach, literally, I know Torquay is one of those locations. You can get in there for, $390K?
Yeah, 390 to 425. We've got a unit there at the moment in Scarness, actually, and it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, ground floor unit, only 6 in that complex, and we're on the market at 395 grand. Straight across the street is the beach in Esplanade, so you can jump on our market and buy in at a really affordable level. You can do a lot worse than invest in Hervey Bay still with our market trending upwards.
Yes, so just in terms of people coming in from Sydney and Melbourne, have you had people buy the units and doing exactly that? They're buying it for perhaps a holiday second home with the view to selling up at a later point?
Not as many buy the unit as a long-term hold that they may eventually transition into, but definitely we're seeing more investor interest in this market at the moment because of the tight rental vacancy rate. And there's a lot of holiday letting going on in Hervey Bay as well, through like Airbnb is one of obviously the most popular platforms for that. That structure, you can buy a holiday unit, come up and block it out yourself for the period you want to use it yourself, and then just put it back in the letting pool when you're not here, so they can, and I would suggest it would more than easily cover its holding costs and still allow you to escape the winter when you wanted to.
Yeah, so plenty of options around that. Now, we should talk about the Progressive Council there on the Fraser Coast, because they have approved plans to develop a hotel, and I'll get you to explain this one because it's quite significant. $450 million is going into this hotel. So a lot of workers are going to be required for this. I mean, the flow-on effect of having a $450 million hotel in your region is huge.
It is. This is one of the largest development proposals approved to date for Hervey Bay. And look, it's been hotly contested and it was a close vote. It was 5-6. So it has divided some of our councillors and residents, but the overwhelming support in the polls that I've been observing is that it has got majority support, providing it meets the guiding principles for the project and it is a quality project. It's going to be done by the Sheraton hotel chain. So it should come as a high quality development. I feel will be a tipping point to attract further quality developments in Hervey Bay. So I think this was an opportunity for Hervey Bay and our council to drive the direction that we're going to go into, because we are experiencing unprecedented growth. It's not going to change. You can't stop that growth, but we can definitely engage and be a part of the direction that we want the Hervey Bay to go in. And again, employment has always been a problem. We've come off a pretty low base with our unemployment rates over the last couple of years, and it has been much better. But this project's going to create in excess of 1,100 construction jobs through that at least probably 3 to 5 year construction period. I think they've got 7 years to complete it. And then there's going to be a minimum of 250 long-term jobs just within the management of that project going forward, because it's not just going to be holiday accommodation in this complex. We're going to have permanent resident facilities as well. So I think it'll be a great thing for Hervey Bay. And the negotiation point was over this. It was a 21-storey development, which was going to be the highest project, I believe, north of the Gold Coast. They have negotiated that back to 18 stories now. So it's still a significant project when our current ceiling cap has been at 6 stories.
All right, so we are talking with Scott there in Hervey Bay. We'll come back. We'll talk more about the Fraser Coast after this.
Unlock the secrets of real estate and stay informed about the latest real estate buzz with hot market trends, emerging suburbs, and hidden gems.
That's going to crush the economy just as much as having the interest rates of 12 and 13% did back in the day. And of course, going forward, the house prices will increase. There'll be just little tiny adjustments that they have to make, 0.25% here. And it doesn't sound like much, but 0.25% on $1 million mortgage is a lot.
And in terms of other investors that you know deciding to sell off maybe part of their portfolio, do you know people that have sort of just hit that wall where they go, no, can't go any further, I've got to liquidate?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've got a friend of mine who went nuts during the property market boom and leveraged against the other, and he ended up with more than 20 properties. A lot of them were in sort of outback towns, smaller prices, which have obviously been feeling the pinch a lot more than the CBDs. So he's having to let some go, and other people are feeling the pinch. I think the report said the other day there's 1 million Australian households who are in mortgage stress.
Each week, we bring you in-depth real estate discussions, including inspiring stories from homeowners, knowledgeable real estate professionals and economists. Whether you're a buyer, seller, or just a real estate enthusiast, we are your ultimate property podcast.
And it is a Saturday morning. We are in Hervey Bay. We are talking with Scott, our man on the ground, talking all things real estate there, even though the temperature in the last week or so down to 4 degrees. Big news, huge news, this $450 million complex that you were talking about just before the break, Scott. 340 residential units and 200 hotel rooms. I'm just thinking, back in 2007, I stayed in the Peppers. I think it's a different name now, but I stayed in the Peppers Hotel. And if you look at the hotel buildings, I mean, this is kind of one of those buildings back in 2005 that came along. Has it been a long time coming, this?
We had that little bit of a boom back then. That sort of 2005 to 2008, we saw a number of high quality projects completed in that period, and Peppers was one of those. That's now the Oaks, is under Oaks management, and it is a quality building, and it's got the Bayswater Hotel out the front of it, as well as another fantastic Salt Cafe. It's a very popular dining option in Hervey Bay. It's an elevated dining area and hotel overlooking the Urangan Pier and the beach. It's a fantastic venue, and it's been well received. But we also had Eden by the Bay. You had the Allegra complex come in, Tingira. They're all great projects, but a number of those, including Peppers, the GFC kicked in just late 2008, and we saw those developers went into receivership, unfortunately. So those projects took more than a decade to nearly recover from that market cycle. And I think all of those units now, there's been some fantastic sales in some of those unit complexes because units have been well received and again more popular coming out of the back of the COVID period with people wanting to come to Hervey Bay, and they have discovered Hervey Bay going forward. So they're using this to live, downsize and live in Hervey Bay and also invest in Hervey Bay because we came off such a low base going forward. So this project will again instill more confidence in Hervey Bay as an area to invest as well as live. And we do normally have a much more temperate climate than we've been experiencing this last week. Hervey Bay's got so much going for it. It's great to see a company like Sheraton investing in Hervey Bay. And I think this will be a great project going forward.
Okay, and let's just come back to this development, this $450 million complex. As I mentioned, 340 residential units, quite substantial, a number of units that people will be eyeballing, wanting to buy. So have you, at this stage, you might not be able to answer this question, but have you got any inclination or ideas about where the starting point for those units would be?
No, that's a great question, and I'll be interested in seeing that because normally these projects will have their own in-house sales team. A lot of it will be sold off the plan, so I believe you will see these campaigns being launched going forward, obviously by the developer as a rule. I would say though, based on some sales, like I sold a subfloor penthouse which had one of the most spectacular views I've seen personally in Hervey Bay in the Allegra complex early this year. And we sold that for $940,000. That was a 2-bedroom unit with 180-degree panoramic views. But there have been some sales in the Oaks apartment, penthouse and subfloor penthouses in the last year that have been like 1.5, 1.6 million. So people are already seeing value in our market for a quality product at that level in those existing buildings, and this building should really take that up another level. So it'll be interesting to see what prices are asked and achieved throughout this project's development. Again, it's about setting the quality level. You can't stop the progress, you just can't. It's going to come. You've only got to see what's happening in Hervey Bay as far as the urban sprawl. We do need some more high density development. Our Esplanade is the jewel in the crown of Hervey Bay, and a quality project will hopefully instill more confidence in our market and attract, again, a greater quality of product going forward. And that's what we want.
Well, I think that those councillors, that split that you were saying 5-6, by the time the hotel is up and erected and everybody is in it celebrating, partying, of course, I think they'll soon forget about voting negatively on the hotel to come to town. All right, we'll leave it there. Scott, enjoy your weekend. Thanks for coming back on to the Real Estate Breakfast.
Fantastic, Craig. Always great to catch up, and I look forward to explaining how the temperature has improved for our next one.
Stay ahead of the competition with the latest news, insights and data analysis on the Property Podcast that keeps you informed. We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.